Okay, so I will now introduce ourselves. So Simon is our program director for the program. Amy is our program administrator, and my name is Howard. I work in the UCL School of Management recruitment team. So without further ado, I will let Simon kick off, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Law in the law of the universe, which is known as the law of attraction or like attraction.
Right. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone in the UK. It's just gone 12 o'clock. Very nice to meet you all. I'm going to talk about, I'm Simon Hume. I'm the program director of the Masters in Entrepreneurship. And I've been program director for 8 years, so I'm very familiar with the program. Um, I'm going to tell you about the program, and then at the end we'll have a chance for questions and answers. So I'll talk for about 30 minutes probably, and then we can chat as much as you want, and you can ask questions at the end, either face to face, speak them, or you can put them in the chat. Let me talk a little bit about UCL. Obviously, I assume you know a lot of the history of UCL and the fact you've chosen it, such a famous university. It was established in 1826. We're just coming up to our bicentenary to challenge Oxford and Cambridge, which were already many hundreds of years old. And it was the first university in Britain to take people on of whatever religion or ethnicity, um, on an equal basis, because back then you had to be a member of the Church of England to go to Oxford or Cambridge. So if you're a Catholic or Jewish or a Muslim, you wouldn't be admitted. But UCL changed all that. And we were also the first university to take women on an equal status to men, and that was in 1876. Again, it seems odd that women weren't equal to men at the very outset, but that was the way of the world. UCL's had 30 Nobel Prize winners who either worked or were involved with UCL. We've had students from around about 150 countries, and I think there are only about 160 in the world. So just about everyone in the world, every country in the world has sent students to UCL. And we have over 50,000 students and more than 16,000 staff. And we are the largest university in the United Kingdom. Globally, we rank generally in the top 10, whatever survey you look at. We were University of the Year in the Good University Guide last year. And yes, we rank globally, and we rank typically fourth in the UK. And that does speak incredibly for the education from the United Kingdom. The very fact that of the top 10 universities in the world, four of them are located in our country. And in fact, two of those are in London, UCL and Imperial, and Oxford and Cambridge, of course, are no more than a sort of hour and a half's ride away. We're accredited with the Association of MBAs, and we'll soon be accredited with the AACSB as well. So that accreditation is being done at the moment. The School of Management is based in two locations, but postgraduate study is at Canary Wharf, and we're in the tower with the pyramid on the top, which is One Canada Square. It's the third tallest building in the UK, and it actually was the tallest building in Europe when it was built. And we have the 50th floor and level 38. And next year, we will actually also have level 49. That's being constructed at the moment. And so we'll have 3 floors next year. Our students also have full access to Bloomsbury, which is the historic campus in the West End of London. It's fairly quick to get to from Canary Wharf because there's a very fast train, so you can get between the two campuses in about 20 minutes, including walking time. And we have this is Jeremy Bentham, who you should know, because if you come to UCL, you have to know the story of Jeremy Bentham. He is an iconic figure in the history of UCL. He wasn't the founder of UCL. He was one of the key influencers of UCL, and he was on the board of UCL. And when he died, he said, "I don't want to be buried." So they put him in. They put uh, his skeleton is actually in that box. The head is a wax head. It's not his real head, but UCL actually has his real head in a safe. Jeremy Bentham didn't want to be buried, and he's now in the student centre to greet you if you ever go there. He's a very nice man. He doesn't say a lot. That's the only thing. He's very quiet. So now let's talk about studying entrepreneurship. So this is a 1-year full-time degree or a 2-year part-time degree. So you can take the degree in either form. And it's designed for students who intend to run and start a high-impact, innovative business. And we're really looking for entrepreneurially minded students. If you want a sort of career with Goldman Sachs, you need to be doing a master's in management or something else. And we learn by doing approach. So we get you, it's a very active way of learning. So we get you doing things. And from my experience, entrepreneurs like to do things. And our teaching team is very, very experienced. We have a mixture of academics and, well, we're all academics, obviously, but our experience is wide and varied, and a lot of us have done startups ourselves and have enormous amount of commercial experience. I myself have done 2 startups in my life, and sold both businesses to larger companies. We do recognize, however, that not all students will do a startup whilst they're on our degree, and actually many go on to join other founders in a team, go back to family businesses often, or work in the venture capital industry. So there's quite a community in London of our alumni who are involved in the venture capital industry. So we recognize that not everyone is going to do a startup whilst they're on the program, and we don't measure success by whether the student has created a startup or not. We measure success on how the student has grown during the course of the year. And our student scores very highly from a satisfaction point of view. We consistently come out top of the School of Management surveys, which is impressive because all the School of Management courses are highly rated. And we're probably one of the highest performing postgraduate programs in the UK. So very, very high level of student satisfaction from what we do. And we have 5 clear objectives for the course. And the first one is to help our students to create high impact startups. And this may not be whilst they're on the program, it may be later in their lives. But we want to give them the facilities, the tools and knowledge to do that. And a part of that is helping them develop the entrepreneurial mindset, and obviously providing them with first-class academic teaching and knowledge. So you walk away with a great deal more knowledge and critical thinking skills than when you arrived. And we also aim to develop our students' interpersonal skills and self-confidence. And this is obviously important for any entrepreneur or anyone in business. So we have various opportunities to help develop you, one of which is obviously taking part in our pitch day event. And also this is a great opportunity to help build new networks, both within UCL, London and the rest of the world, because the students come from all over the world. So it's a great chance to build some incredible lifelong connections. This is Steve Blank's customer development canvas, and I'll just talk you through this because the course is really built around this canvas. So Steve Blank's canvas starts off talking about how during a startup you do customer discovery, you try and find a solution to a problem, and when you think you've got that, you create a minimum viable product, you identify some early customers, and then you go and try and validate it. So you go out there, test your product with customers. And if you find that often what you thought everyone wanted, they don't want, you go back a step, change your product, redesign things, and go through the process again. So we teach you how to do this process. And then once you have got what we call product market fit, you go on to create your early customers and then go on to scale a company. And our modules are very much designed around that canvas, supporting the principles behind that canvas. And I'll talk about the modules in detail in a minute. But term one, we have 4 core modules, and in term 2, we have 2 core modules plus 2 optional modules. And in term 3, we have the dissertation. The optional modules are really good because it allows a student to focus on sectors and areas that they want more knowledge on. And the dissertation is a project which allows you to work on your own startup if you want to, so you can write about what you're doing with your startup. Generally, it's a research project linked to your startup. If you want to, or if you don't have a startup or you don't want to write about that, then you can just do an investigation into another business opportunity or market. And there's a very, very broad set of options for you doing the dissertation project. Our lectures are 3 hours long with a break, you'll be pleased to know, with typically one lecture per one per weekday. Sorry, I can't read my own slides. So typically in term 1, you'll have 4 days of lectures and 1 day where we may do something additional like a workshop. And term 2, it depends very much on what electives you've chosen. It is possible you may have 2 of your lectures on the same day, but ideally they will be spaced out throughout the week. And our lectures start at the earliest time they start is 9 o'clock, and the latest they typically finish is 7 o'clock. But you could have a lecture, say, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, or 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock, etc. So we use our lecture theatres three times a day. Now let's talk about the structure of the course. Term 1, we have building high impact ventures and building high impact founders. And these are 2 modules, one focusing very much on developing your business idea and the early stages of a business startup. And then building high impact founders is all about the founding team and yourself. So looking at yourself, understanding yourself as a leader, understanding your personality. And the reason we've put these 2 together in term 1 is because if you ask any venture capitalist or any business angel, what are the 2 most important factors? They say number 1, the founding team, and number 2, the venture. So these are absolutely critical elements of any startup. Then we have entrepreneurial finance. This is the very best module at UCL. I say this because I teach it myself. That's a joke. It is a very popular module actually at UCL, and we teach it term 1 to our own students doing the Masters in Entrepreneurship. We also have customer development and the lean startup. So this again goes back to that canvas I showed you about how to talk to customers and understand what they want, trying to find a solution to a problem. Term 2, we have product development and prototyping, which sort of is a continuum of really customer development, because we now talk about how you develop a product, whether it be a digital product, like an app, or a physical product, and how to, test that. And if you do create, for example, physical products, we've got lots of resources at UCL where we can make things. So we have an institute of making where they can 3D print things. So we can do lots of things for you if you want. And then we have entrepreneurial marketing. And this is, as opposed to sort of the broader topic of marketing, this is very much about early stage marketing. How do you go literally from no customers to a starting group of customers and move on from there? And then you have the choice of two electives. Now, this is the elective program. So we've got managing scaling ventures, retail and consumer entrepreneurship, technology entrepreneurship, fintech, then influence and negotiations, AI for business, and building sustainable ventures. And so we've got a very broad selection here, and you can choose any two of those. And some of these modules are run by my teaching team from entrepreneurship. The first three along that list are, and then the others are from other programs. So, for example, fintech is a module from our MSc finance degree that we share. Our students join them. This is rather nice because it's an opportunity for you to meet and engage with students from across the School of Management rather than just the students on the entrepreneurship degree. And finally, term 3, we have the dissertation. There are a limited number of classes for that, and then you're very much working on your own, and you have a dissertation supervisor. And all our modules on MSc Entrepreneurship are assessed with coursework, but some of the electives, depending on which ones you choose from the other programs, may have an exam. And the dissertation is a 12,500 word project. If you're doing our degree part-time, which is really a fabulous way to do this degree, you would take these modules in your first year. So you do you do this selection in your first year. And in your second year, you would do the remaining 2 modules and your electives and the dissertation. So during your first year, the summer period is a very quiet time because you're not, the full-time students doing their dissertation, you won't be doing anything at all. But you're welcome to join workshops and be engaged with the university and our students as you wish, but it's a quieter time. And people often say, well, what's the advantage of part-time? The advantage of part-time allows you to go at a slower pace if you find the studying quite intense. It allows you to work at the same time if you want to. So you may be working from an employer and using that money to help fund your degree, or you may be working on your own startup. We have quite a few students, part-time students, who are running their own businesses. So going part-time is a really good way of them doing our degree. It also spreads the cost, and it allows you also to meet 2 cohorts of students and get to know those. But one thing I would flag up is you can only do part-time if you have residency rights in the UK. So you can't, if you're a tier 4 visa student, you can't sit it part-time. We also have the option of studying at Singapore Management University for term 2. And we have broadly the equivalent modules, certainly the core modules in Singapore for you to take there. And this exchange program started last year. We had 3 Singapore students come to us in the first year. None of our students went out last year. And this year we've got 5 students who've gone out and 3 are coming in. And Singapore is a very interesting place if you haven't been there. And Singapore Management University is one of the top universities in Asia, and their campus is really fabulous, very, very interesting, and a great place to go. And this is a picture that was sent to me by the 5 of my students who've gone out there. The student in the far left hand, the back on the left, she's not one of our students, she's on their course. And the students have said they've been so welcomed by the other students there, really enjoyed it. And we make a big effort for the students who come our way to welcome them as well. So far, this has been a very successful new addition to our program. We also have, well, talking about the incubator spaces we have UCL Innovation Enterprise at King's Cross. We have facilities there for students to work from there once they've graduated. And they also offer additional resources such as mentorship and other opportunities. And in fact, whilst you're a student on our program, we recommend you engage with them, attend their events, and also take part in any competitions they may have, because you can win some prizes. So UCL Innovation Enterprise is enterprise for the whole of UCL. So this is separate from us, but we have a very close relationship with them, and lots of our alumni are working out of that incubator space. There's also a second incubator space at Idea London. This is for more advanced startups, but again, there's a possibility to go and work there or use the facilities there as well. We have our own pitching opportunities as well. We have a pitch day, which has become a very, very big annual event for our program. That's taking place this year on the 5th of March, and you're very welcome to come to that if you want to see our students in action. And we have prizes for the students. The prize money is £1,500. We have 3 prizes at £1,500 and 10 bidges taking part. So you've got a 30% chance of winning £1,500 by taking part. And it's a very enjoyable day. We've got a very, very we put together a very interesting audience for you. We've got a very big community of business angels, VCs, and other friends of our program. We also run overseas treks. The School of Management runs them, which you can join. So the School of Management, for example, runs one to Dubai and the United Arab Emirates each year. And that's fun one to go on. I actually went on that last year, and some of my students came on that, but that's a UCL School of Management wide one. So lots of other students came on that. Then we run our own trek. And this was the one to South Korea last year, which I also went on. And we went with about 33 students, and some of these students, 25 of those students were directly from our program, but 7 of them were from other programs at UCL. And we also had 2 alumni come along. And this is a really nice feature of our program. We invite alumni along to lots of events, and they're also welcome to come on our overseas treks. And that brings a nice dimension, because it gives a chance for our students to get to know some alumni who've been working for a while. And we also have a Hall of Fame, and you can look this up, UCL School of Management Hall of Fame. You can see all the startups that we know of that have come out of the School of Management. And there's something like 110 businesses on there at the moment. And of those, I think about 60 have come off our programs. Around about half have come directly off our program. But we capture on this Hall of Fame startups that have come off some of the other programs, which are enormous. So Masters in Management has got over 400 students a year. So inevitably, they are producing some startups as well. But you can see more details on these businesses and the alumni founders if you want to. In terms of scholarships and bursaries, these are the key UCL ones. Best to go to the website to find out more about all of these. So there's the India Excellence one, UCL Global Master Scholarship. The UCL East Scholarship is a new one for people living, I believe, in East London. And we have 2 students on our program who got that scholarship this academic year. Then there's also a School of Management Fulbright Scholarship, but the deadline of that has passed for 25-26, but that's something relevant if you weren't joining us, for example, next year and you're going to join us the year after. But you have to be a US citizen to apply for that scholarship. And then there are lots of other scholarships. There's the Chevening Scholarship, which is very a very common scholarship for our program. We have 2 or 3 achieving students each year. And that's the British government's scholarship for students from developing countries. So that wouldn't be relevant, for example, if you're from the EU or the United States. And do stay in touch with us. There's ways you can link to us to keep up to date with information from us. I believe these slides are going to be given to you as well afterwards. So let's so I'll stop the sharing there, and we'll just open up for questions now you may have. And do unmute yourself and ask a question if you want to. Or put them on the chat if you'd prefer.
Yeah, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can ask us and we can answer you directly. So any kind of question about the program, some of you may have some admissions questions that you may have already in the process. So please do feel free whilst you have us here.
Someone's connecting to audio, so.
Hello, if you're joining us just now, we have finished the presentation and we're now doing the Q&A section. So if you have any questions, please go ahead.
You can always chat to the student representatives. So if you go onto our website and you click on study and you see about the course, you can someone will pop up and you can talk directly to the students if you wish.
Okay, here's
So
a
we're
couple.
getting some questions coming through. We'd love to know more about the venture capitalist route as a career option. We do have a careers service, which you're welcome to use, but this program isn't overtly set up for students doing careers. So for example, if you're doing Masters in Management, the careers team would talk to you during the first week, and you'd start thinking about what your career goals were for when you finish the program. We don't do that. We do have a careers service that you can use. So you could talk to our careers service from the day you start. And we do start sending out invites to careers events in term 2, but it would be a bit odd if we sort of laid it on thick. In terms of the career option for VCs, it's rather informal. It's very much community based. So obviously you can approach any venture capitalist yourself, but increasingly we're getting a large community of our own alumni out there. Also, my colleague who teaches entrepreneurial finance with me at Jusso, she is a venture capitalist herself, and she employs or has employed some of our students. We also have a VC club, which is a community of people interested in venture capital, and we hold fireside chats with VCs throughout the year and have networking with them, and there's a WhatsApp group as well. So this is a very much community based rather than sort of like a formal career route. You were talking about learning by doing. How does this look like during the program? Well, if you think about customer development, we encourage you to literally go out and talk to customers or potential customers about your product idea. So that's an example of doing. In example of my lectures, I teach the financial statements and I teach you about profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow, etc. It's very, very practical. So for example, during class, I will I will do some teaching, and then we will do an exercise, because that's a great way of knowing whether you've actually digested what you've just been taught. And then we'll go back to the class and discuss the answers and keep going. So that's the way I work, and a lot of my colleagues do similar things. And a lot of our assignments, again, are very, very practical based. So, for example, with entrepreneurial finance, my assignment is about creating a financial model. We give you a template in Excel, and you build a financial model for your chosen business, or you can do it for a fictitious business if you want. But you learn all the methodology of what's needed for financial modeling. And my colleague, it also gets students to go off and interview a founder. So they go off and interview a founder who's had at least two funding rounds, and then write a report about that. So it's all very much about getting out and doing things. Do you have any chance of internships after graduating, like in London startup or VC? Yes, there are various opportunities for that, but it's not a formal thing. You have to sort of do your own networking, but we've got enormous number of networking opportunities. You're not actually an intern after you've graduated, because an intern is someone who's actually in full-time study. So you would actually be what's classified as a worker, not an intern, because we're just a one-year program. Melissa's questions. You've mentioned that there will be offline lessons at the campus. Does it mean that we'll have to have at least 3 to 4 times lessons per week? Not sure what your question is there. Oh, yeah, sorry, I understand what you mean by offline. I was thinking of whether you meant Zoom in the context of offline. Yes, we have the core modules, which will be, for example, term 1 will be spread over 4 days. So you have to attend all 4 of those days. On the 5th day, which is typically a Tuesday, we may have a workshop, and those workshops are optional to go to. And we open up the workshops also to other students, although the workshops are created and run by our team. We do open those up to other programs to attend. If the student has own a small business, not a startup, in their hometown, would that be an ideal topic for the final dissertation? Yes, you can. The dissertation is very, very flexible. So, for example, if you've got an established business, you could look at a new opportunity for that business. So either a new opportunity for your existing products, or you could investigate some new products for that business. You can really invent a dissertation on almost anything, and we're very good at helping students come up with dissertation ideas if they're stuck. So basically, you can do the dissertation pretty much on what you want. The only criteria is obviously it's got to be a commercial topic, because we're a commercial program. Is it possible to visit the campus and speak with someone about the program? Yes, it is. You're very welcome to come and see me personally if you want. I'll show you around, have a cup of coffee with you, and talk to you about the program. So you're welcome to do that. Just email me.
One question, Simon, that we always get whilst talking to a student is there like a ideal student profile or an ideal sort of first degree, or does that not matter to you?
Well, it's a very good question, actually, and I should perhaps have a slide talking more about the profile of the students. Our students, the average age this year is 26, but typically the average age is about 27. The age range is from 22 to 40 plus, so we get mature students as well. In terms of background degree, we're completely agnostic on any form of degree you've got. So we really don't mind. And in fact, we welcome people with different degrees. So if you've got, for example, a computer science degree, that's really interesting to us because you'll be great to join founding teams or do something creative yourself. You know, computer science students, for example, are quite desirable for other for being part of a founding team because we need often a tech person. We get people from fashion, people have done robotics, people have done obviously management, but we like to see a progression as to why you're joining this degree. You know, what is this degree going to do for you? And we're not very keen on someone who's, say, done a management degree at undergraduate and just goes straight from their university straight to us. And if you want to have a career, this isn't the degree for you. We're not really right for you, and you're not really right for us. What we're looking for, what we really love is if you're, well, let me step back a second. Say we see students in different types. So we see the students coming straight out of university as sort of one group, or very recently out of university as one group. And then we see mature applicants who may be in their 30s or early 30s or late 20s, for example. So we segregate those two. And there's obviously a blend in between, but if we talk about those two groups now separately, I'll give you an idea. So if you're an undergraduate coming straight from university, you don't have a lot to offer us, to be honest. And so we say, well, you know, what are you going to bring to our party? You can't come to our party unless you bring something. And if you just come straight from university with a management degree, and you've done nothing entrepreneurial at university, not very interesting to us. If, on the other hand, you've got an interesting degree, say fashion or something different, there's a clear progression as to why you want to do our masters, because you know you don't have the commercial training, you don't have the commercial knowledge, and you want to do a startup in fashion. That progression makes sense. You know, we can see why you need us. And then or we'd sort of say, well, what have you done whilst you're at university? And if the story is something like, well, you know, I've developed this product, been trying to sell it, I've had some success here, I've had some failure there, you know, and I'm struggling with this. You know, great, you've done something. You know, you're bringing something to the party. But if you're just doing a very straightforward management degree, and then you're going to do another form of management degree, obviously an entrepreneurship management degree, it's not so exciting to us. Then if we move to the other end of the scale, to the more mature students, so say you're 30 years old, you may not have had a particularly entrepreneurial journey, but now you see you want an entrepreneurial journey. You know, I've been working for someone else, I've got this work experience, and I want to start my own business. And I feel I'm lacking in skills here. You know, I've got this huge knowledge about this market or whatever from my career, but I'm lacking in what to do, how to go about doing a startup or a venture. And so you've got a different type of progression there, and then would say, well, what have you done? And if you've had an interesting career, it's not entrepreneurial, would say, well, that's really interesting. You're going to bring something to our party, something different. And by creating this sort of magic mix of different backgrounds and ages, we really do create a wonderful cohort. And the more mature students say, I've learned so much from some of the younger students, and some of the younger students say, I've learned so much from some of the older students. And of course, everyone's from different backgrounds, different countries. We're typically from around about 32 countries. And we try and keep to roughly no more than 10% from any one country. So we try and get a nice balance from around the world. There's not a sort of strict rule over that. There's a sort of a bit of guidance we work to try and make sure that everyone's not from one part of the world. And that's, again, part of the magic of the program, that people are from all over the world.
Awesome, thank you. That is really helpful. Another quick one I'll ask before, well, I'll let you go. A lot of times we hear students sort of be scared about the interview process when they get there. Do you have any quick sort of tips, or how should they prepare themselves for the interview, and what would be a great sort of interview answer without obviously reviewing any of the questions or anything like that, but just general tips?
Another very good question. So you'll produce your personal statement, and if we like what we see, so we look at your personal statement, we look at your references, we look at your academic qualifications. If we like what we see, we will offer you an interview, and the interview is a recorded interview. Is with myself. So I ask you a question on the is recorded question, and then you record your answer. And we only ask you, I think, 3 questions, and the questions change slightly randomly, so that because we've had problems with people reading from a script because they've learnt the questions in advance somehow. And I would say to you, the way to get deleted immediately is to read from a script. So if you know what sort of questions we're going to ask you, I mean, the first question is a very simple one, is generally around like, why do you want to do our degree? That's an easy one. If you read from a script, we'll listen to probably about 30 seconds of it and then reject you. So we want you to just be natural and to just tell us why you want to do our degree, and then answer the other questions very naturally. We're not looking for supremely confident people who are perfectly articulate. We're looking for honesty and genuine people who we feel will fit in, and we just need to see you as you are. If you're nervous doing the interview, don't worry. I'm so used to seeing nervous people doing that, and don't worry about it. It doesn't affect our decision whether we would take someone or not. We've often see that. And what we're interested in is you, and we're also interested in your English level of English, because one absolutely fundamental feature of our program is that everyone speaks fluent English. And this is critically important, because if you speak fluent English and you turn to the person on your left in class and they can't understand you, and you turn to the person on your right and they can't understand you either, it's a pretty grim experience for you as a student. And this happens at lots of lesser universities. And also, from a lecturer point of view, we go at a pace. You're coming to UCL here, and we work at a pace. You're joining like the first division of universities. We don't want to waste time talking really slowly because people can't speak English. So this is another thing we will test when we look at the interview. Obviously, you have to have the English test on paper, but we're also, when we do the interview, we're looking to see whether you can actually speak English properly. If you're not perfectly, if you have an accent, of course we'd expect that. If you're not 100%, we would not expect that. So, but we are looking for a certain level of fluency, which is very important for the lecturers and our fellow students. I'll just read this other question. I'm currently in my final year of college and will be graduating in August this year. I also just started my export company. I was wondering, how does the program support students in growing an existing business? Well, it's fine. I mean, the principles of what we teach are suitable for someone who's in a startup, or our course is fine for someone who doesn't have a startup, someone who's thinking about doing a startup, someone who has a startup, and someone who has a trading business. So whatever your scenario, our degree is useful for you. even if you were to join a large corporate, and they're not the sort of students we would look for, but if you did have a corporate career, the degree is still useful because it teaches you to critically look at situations in a different way, in an entrepreneurial mindset, and that is very powerful if you had a career, so whatever way you look at it, our degree is good for anyone going into commerce, um, but we want a particular spectrum of students. It's quite a wide spectrum. We're looking for a reasonably wide spectrum of students. But if you've got a business and you've already started one, we'd love to hear about that in your application. Tell us, what you're doing. And if you have got some businesses, try and put in web links and things like that, because we like to see some verification of claims that people make about what business they've created. Any other questions?
Okay. If no more questions, we can conclude. And Simon mentioned very kindly that you guys can reach out to him anytime and, have a chat with him as well. And I'm sure some of you will really, really enjoy that. And you can also reach out, and we'll also have some campus open days. We have a campus open day this Saturday. So if you are based in or near London, please do visit us. You can, again, see us in person. You can visit Canary Wharf. You can see everything around us. But we also do campus tours every 6 weeks or so. So on a Saturday every 6 weeks or so, you can visit us. We can also do one-to-ones if those dates doesn't line up for you. So please do visit us. We love having you around. It is very nice. And again, thank you all for coming, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you soon.
Thank you, Howard.
I will just the last of them. Right. Here we go. It always takes a minute, doesn't it? So,
Yes,
um,
people are probably not paying attention. They're not